Sorry about that. Again, it got cut off, unfortunately. Not sure why that's caused. But anyhow, so basically what we were saying about the matzah, that on Pesach, right? Pesach is before we receive the Torah. So before we receive the Torah, we said that's that aspect of, like Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, right? The forefathers. The way they kept the Torah is they kept it through this aspect of tefillah, which means tapping into the strength of the Torah, the potential, right? The koach of the Torah, but which is the source where the source where the river of wisdom, river of the wisdom of the Torah comes out from. So that's that aspect of that melody. That's what matzah corresponds to. They call it the food of angels, right? It's that, because that's what it is. Like if a person can take out that holiness and see that Shem Elokim, the main chiyut, we know that the Shem Elokim is it gives the chiyut, right, in the world down here. Everything physical and that is getting its life from Shem Elokim. So the Malchut, the kingdom of Kedusha, right, a person's Malchut, which is his vessel, right, his light all depends on reunifying between the Yud Kei Vav Kei, which is like the Moichin, and the Shem Elokim, which is the judgment. So the all that light, right, which is his source of life, is from within the Gashmius, the physicality, from within judgment. So Pesach corresponds to tapping in, right, after we came out of Egypt, then we go to Mount Sinai, we receive the Torah. So this is, in Egypt, we're talking about a state before Matan Torah, before we get the Torah. So it's this place where a person is tapping into this prayer, right, tapping into the source of the strength of where all the Torah comes from, right, which that's like tapping into that melody and being connected to that light. So that's what Pesach basically corresponds to, and that's what matzah is, and that's why we have to be very careful. Anything that has to do with wind, with the air element, that's chametz, right, is you can't have it on Pesach, because Pesach is mamish like tapping into that really, really high light. It's crazy, but that's what it is, right? In this world, down here, in the physical world, this is when we can tap into that light. As soon as we come out of Egypt and we're in the next world, Mashiach comes, we're not going to be able to get that anymore. But as long as we're in it, we can still tap into it. It's like we're in the galut, we're in exile, right, all these years, and everybody's always saying Mashiach, Mashiach, Mashiach wants to come out. When really like the highest light that you can tap into is dafka when you're in the galut. When you're in that exile, when you're in that Egypt, that's when you eat the matzah. Which should have been the opposite. We only eat chametz when we're in Egypt, and when we come out of Egypt, then you eat matzah. Because we're out of Egypt, we're in Mashiach time, so now we could eat matzah. It's this holy bread of the angels. It's like the man that we took out of the desert. The man we ate in the desert for 40 years, right? So it says that if you calculate it, there's a month missing over there. So the Chazal say, no, the bread that they took out of Egypt, that they made, which was actually matzahs, they took them out, it lasted them a month, and then they got the man. So the man we actually got, right, this matzah is like the man, right, the manna, the bread of the angels, right, this food from heaven. When do you get that? Dafka inside your Egypt. Dafka when you're in it. וזהו בחינת מצה ששם אין מניחין להתאחז בחינת אוויר דהי עלמא בפועל כי אין מניחין אותה להחמיץ שתעלה בנפיחה. Right, so we don't let any wind, any air element get close to this bread, this holy bread. We don't let the chametz, right? We don't let it rise. כי אנו נזהרין שלא יתאחז הרוח סערה כלל בלחם שאנו אוכלים עכשיו בפסח. So the bread that we're eating on Pesach, again, Pesach corresponds to peh. Peh means the mouth, right? Sach means speaking, singing, speaking. That's why the whole Haggadah, we take the Haggadah and we start reading, and it's all about speaking. We're speaking this redemption, this light of redemption, all the miracles, and telling stories all night about like how this redemption from the Egypt, right? All these amazing miracles. So that's what Pesach corresponds to. So on Pesach, when we're in this state of Pesach, your mouth has to only speak redemption, speak good, speak positive, right? Can't have any chametz. Right, you can't have any of the wind element, that stormy wind, that Aesop speaking bad, lashon hara, gossiping, right? All that. That's all like, if you want to be in the state, you want to tap into that melody, you have to be eating matzah. It has to be a holy speech, right? Holy food, right? That's how it needs to be in this physical world. When you were in Egypt, right? When we're in the 7 days of of Pesach, we can only eat matzah. So 7 days of right being in Egypt still, those days correspond to the exile, meaning the state where we're in right now. שהוא עדיין קודם קבלת התורה, רק אוכלים מצה שהוא מאכל גבוה מאוד. We only eat matzah in those 7 days in this world, which is a very, very high food. Bchinat, like it says, it's the aspect of what it says in the prophet Ishaya, chapter 64. Eden ayin lo ra'ata. So Eden, right? Gan Eden. We know the Garden of Eden is called Eden. So what's Eden? Eden is ayin lo ra'ata. It's like the place where the eye hasn't seen yet, right? Those really high places. Shezeu b'chinat. This is the aspect of matzah. That's what matzah is. Matzah corresponds to this Eden, to this huge, huge light. B'chinat oneg Shabbat. It's the aspect of oneg Shabbat. The oneg, the pleasure of Shabbos. Right? Because we know Shabbos is a taste of the world to come. And the main mitzvah on Shabbos, the main mitzvah of Oneg Shabbat, to have pleasure on Shabbos, is the eating. Right? So it corresponds, what's Oneg? Is the Bechinat Leman Tamotzu V'Yit'anagtem Miziv Kvoda. Right? Leman Tamotzu. So when a person taps into this matzah, which is Leman Tamotzu V'Yit'anagtem Al Ziv Kvoda, when we eat the matzah, when our mouth becomes this mamish holy matzah and always speaking good, right? This food of the angels, this really, really high, refuah, like the Zohar says that it's a refuah. When a person taps into that, then he can connect his heart and his mind. That's when the harp starts playing and he starts hearing the melody. That's what it means. V'yitanagtem miziv kvoda. So what's the connection to oneg, to the pleasure of Shabbos? Oneg Shabbos is the Bechina, it's the aspect of Eden, Nahar, and Gan. So we said, Nahar Yotze Eden, right? There's a river. The river comes out of a place called Eden, which is the prayer. And the river of wisdom is the wisdom from within the Torah, right? The river of wisdom comes out of the prayer into this world. That's called Nahar, right? And the Torah itself is the garden. So Eden, Nahar, and Gan, those three things, the Eden, the river, and the garden, that's the first letters of Oneg, Ayin Nun Gimel. So Eden, Nahar, Gan. The first letters of those three words is Oneg. So that's what it's talking about. Tapping into the mamish. You want to bring life to the entire garden, because in the garden we said all the souls grow in the garden, right? You want to bring life to all the souls, all the countries, everything that's from within your being. The way to do it is you need to tap into that river of wisdom that's coming out of the tefillah. Right, and that's Oneg Shabbos. It says Az tit'anag al Hashem. Az, then we'll tap into that Oneg, that pleasure of Yud Kei Vav Kei. Right, when Mashiach comes, it's talking about. But Rav Nachman says Az tit'anag al Hashem, that we're gonna mamish, the Yud Kei is gonna beam al Hashem. It's gonna become one with the Vav Kei. So the entire body, everything will become one. So that's mamish Oneg Shabbos. That's why they say Shabbos is like a little taste of the world to come. Tapping into that light. And all this corresponds to the aspect of matzah. This is mamish the aspect of matzah. That's what it is. Which is a very, very high food, a very high light. It's the aspect of Eden, of the mamish, this garden, this river, and the source of the river. B'chinat tefillah, the aspect of prayer, right? The prayer that we spoke about, of course, which is it's a creation in potential, in koach. That through that is the main way that we come out of our Egypt. So it's not getting out of the Egypt and killing the bad and that. It's realizing that all of the bad that we're in, all of the difficulties, all the narrowness, all that Egypt that we're in is where the melody's coming from. That's where the melody's coming from. So when a person understands this, he could never fall from doing something wrong. You can't fall from it, because every person wants to do good, but we're human and we fall. So when a person falls, he realizes, hey, this is one of the things that it says in the Torah not to do, and I just did it. That means right now, this is one of those things that has the potential from within it to play that melody, to make that harp. Has from within it that wind, and all it needs to do is blow into the harp, and then but in order to blow into the harp, Rav Nachman says in, I think, lesson 50, is it noon? I don't know if it's 54 or 56. He says, in order for the melody to play, you need to have, your instrument needs to be whole, and you need to know how to play the instrument, right? So the instrument needs to first of all be whole, which means you need to know all of the. I think I gave on one of the classes is the I think I called it the tzaddik, right? I think it was the tzaddik. I can't remember all the names, but it's all basically about the name Yud Kei Vav Kei and the name good, tov, and chesed, and tzaddik, and what do all these names mean and how to look at them. So basically, if you learn those things, you can start start learning how to think and how to judge yourself and how to speak positive and stuff like that, and see from wherever you read and learn and stuff, start seeing the life from within it, so that it actually gives you life. So that's like, the vessel needs to be whole. You have to have a whole vessel, and then you also need to know how to play it. You have to know how to play it. Means you need to know how to sift between, as we said, to play an instrument you have to sift between the good and bad chords. So the chords correspond to the good wind and the bad wind, right? And that's the person when he fell into a sin. From within it there's the good wind, which are the sparks of holiness from within it, and the bad wind, and he needs to know how to play that instrument and sift out all the little nekudot tovot and find the little points of good that are completely clean, those points of tzaddik from within it, and justify the whole thing. That's playing the actual instrument, because when you play the instrument, that's when you start hearing the melody. So that's those two ideas. וזהו החילוק שבין חמץ למצה, שהוא באות ה', שחמץ הוא בחטא ומצה הוא בה'. So this is the difference also between the chametz and matzah. The difference is in the letter hey, right? The letter hey, that's the main difference that there is between chametz and matzah. So the chametz, the chet, right, is basically sealed all the way, right? And then the hey, it has like a little opening above the yud. There's like a tiny little opening. כי hey shel matzah hu bechinat haruach chaim, shu bechinat chamisha chumshei Torah. So the hey corresponds to the holy wind of life, which corresponds to the 5 books of Torah. That through them, through the Torah, from within the Torah, is that wind of life, that a person can draw this wind of life onto him, right? The aspect of matzah we spoke about. Shesham hu lemala me'arba yesodot. Over there, it's the 5th element. It's above the four elements, because we said that element of wind, the 5th one, that tzaddik element, if you have it with you all the time, that's the one that mamish gives life and takes all the elements and like gives them existence, right? If it wasn't for that 5th element of wind, we wouldn't have kiyum. And you could see it in a way. If a person is always thinking bad and speaking bad, and there's no way like things are good in his life. The one thing I wanted to answer, it's important because we spoke about like parnasa, like thinking, putting your thought, the exterior part of your thought into work, and not the interior. Right, the pnimiut of the inside of your mind should be focused on the wind of life from within it, which is the Torah, which is the little nekudas of mitzvah. There's from within the thing that you're doing. So a lot of people might think that you see lots of people who are putting their whole everything into what they're doing, and they're making tons of money, and there's when it comes to like the fruit of something, right? Like the money, for example, is. There's holy money and there's not holy money. So money that comes from the other side, that's not even holy money. It's called in the Zohar, it's called afrot zahav, like fool's gold, basically. It's like fool's gold. It looks like money or it looks like gold, but it's not. It's nothing. It's called afra. It's like mamish, like dust. So what I was talking about, and a person can apply it to anything, is basically the gold, the money coming from the side of Kedusha, the sparks of holiness that's coming from the side of holiness. So in a case like that, I just wanted to clarify that point, because I thought it would be, it's important to know the difference. With everything, there's when it's coming from the holy side and from the other side, because remember, everything's zelu matzeh, it has to be equal. So we want to always draw everything from the holy side, from the Kedusha, so that's the way to do it. ששם הוא למעלה מארבע יסודות. ושם אין שליטת הרוח סערה, ומשם דייקה אנו ממשיכים את הרוח חיים שהוא בחינת ה'. And from over there, that's where the source, over there we said in that aspect of matzah, right, that aspect of the 5th element, that melody, right, there's no, the ruach sa'ara, the evil force, the wind of, right, it doesn't have any, the stormy wind doesn't have any grasp in that place. And from there, from that place is where we draw down the wind of life, which all this corresponds to the letter Hey. Aval chametz hu bechinat shenistam ptichat haHei. The chametz it means the letter Hey got the leg of the yud that's inside the Hey went up and closed it up. It got sealed. And from there is the totzot ruach chaim. It's the source of the holy wind of life, right? That's where it comes from. So it got cut off, which means the yud ke and the vav ke, the chet and the nun, right? They got separated. The heart and mind get separated. That's the chametz. בחינת הרחב פיך ומלא, ובחטא נסתם פתיחת זו בבחינת קבלה רשע צדיק ממנו, שרצה לבלוע את הרוח חיים לסותמו במצר הגרון, שלא יהיה כוח להמשיכו לתוך גוף האדם, להחיות עצמו ולהשלים חסרונו, שזהו בחינת גלות מצרים, ועיקר התגברותו על ידי תערובת הארבע יסודות שנתערבו מטוב ורע.